Oh, welcome everybody. This is, hold on a second. I got to turn some other noise off. Hold on, I'll be right back. I'll be right there. Hold on a second. Hold on, people. Hold on. Hold on. Oh Lord. I got ahead of myself. Got ahead of myself here. All right, welcome everybody. We are back again with Plan Your Greatness. I am your gracious host, Carlton Hamilton. I'm in my beautiful white shirt. Hey, there's always never a bad time for a clean white shirt. Now, some of you probably maybe even recognize that music, and it goes in line with the topic of today. That was Manafest, and the name of the song was, rightfully so, No Plan B. All right, so that is going to be our topic for today. But let's do a little, the weigh-in we always do. I'm a little disappointed. I have not worked out in a few days, just scheduling conflicts, and my weight has tipped over a little bit. I'm around 252, but that's okay. I'm going to get right back on my grind starting tomorrow. Just been cranking out the videos and doing some other stuff. But I've been grinding all summer for 6, 7, 8 weeks straight. So backsliding a little bit, but I'm going to get right back on it. And from then now up until, my birthday in November, we're going to be back on it. All right. So just so you know, we're getting closer. Book has been registered with the Library of Congress, copyright. We're working on the website, which is planyourgreatness.com. We're trying to see how we can actually do some self-publishing, get this whole thing out. So when we do go live and launch, you'll be ready to grab all the ways, whether it's iTunes, SoundCloud, Audible, Google Plus, Amazon, Tumblr, ebooks, however you choose to access your material. We want to be there to kind of offer it to you. All right. We want to get right back and get right into it. This is the 9 Pillars of Success series. This is pulled from chapter 11 in the book. We have already covered 1 through 5, which is show up and show out. That's number 1. Stop lying to yourself. Number 2. Give all goals a deadline. Number 3. No excuses. Number 4. Master the gift of you. Number 5. And number 6 is no plan B. All right. I typically will go over, you first need to ask yourself the 3 questions, but we're going to just move right along, because if you've watched the other videos, you understand what it takes. You have to ask yourself the 3 questions. You have to lay the foundation for those 3 questions. And then that's when the 9 pillars, either one or all 9 of them, become the foundation for getting you to where you want to go. All right. Because I want to get right into it. All right. There is a quote from Benjamin Disraeli. This is at the very beginning of chapter 11. It says, Carlton, you should be ashamed of yourself. You should have this quote up there already, but I'm going to pull it up. But it's a quote by Benjamin Disraeli where he talks specifically about how serious are you about what you're trying to do. And if you are, you do right here is what he says. Nothing can resist the will that will stake even its existence upon its fulfillment. Does that make sense? I'm going to say it again, and if you don't, just rewind it back. Nothing can resist the will which will stake even its existence on its fulfillment. That really means either you're going to succeed or you're going to die. Or you're going to die in the process of trying. Like 50 Cent said, I'm going to get rich or I'm going to die trying. I love that. And some people say, well, he's just all obsessed with money. No, he's obsessed with just, if it's all about getting rich in this society or living the best life that I can live, I would rather die in the pursuit of that than just be standing still. I absolutely 100% agree with that. One of my favorite books is called The Alchemist. And I'm going to make reference to that later on when I start talking about Will Smith. But in that book by Paulo Coelho, and I I say that is on my list of top 25 books to read is the Alchemist. That book is centered around following what you believe to be your personal legend. And I'm not going to give a spoiler for the book. I'm not going to give the ending and everything. But really what the book talks about is the only way that you find out what your personal legend is you have to be in pursuit of it. It ain't going to come find you if you just stand around. But if you're diligently searching for it, it might be right there in your own backyard. But the only way you're going to find that out is if you get out and start looking for it. All right? So that's one of my, I recommend that book highly. All right. Will Smith, and the whole theme is we're talking about no plan B. Will Smith, he was on this show, and you can go look it up. He was on the Tavis Smiley show years ago when he first started getting into Hollywood, and he started getting on these blockbuster films. And Tavis Smiley asked me, he said, Will, how is it that you are becoming such a sought after actor in Hollywood? And Will Smith said, he said, because I'll win the treadmill test. And you could see the host, Tavis Smiley, kind of going, all right, tell me more. What exactly does that mean? Will Smith said that you will never outwork him. He said you might have everything, looks, talent, connections. He said, but metaphorically, if we get on this treadmill, if it starts to come down to hard work, he said two things are going to happen. He said either you are going to get off or he's going to die. He said it's that simple. He said, I don't have a plan B. When I want to go after something, I go after it until I get it or I die trying. How many of you are really engaged in something that you basically tell yourself, oh, I'm getting this. And if I don't get this, I'm either going to die trying, or the universe, and I'll talk about this later, the universe will open up something else for me. That's not a plan B. That's a course correction. We'll talk about that as well later on. All right. So, because I always believe that a plan B is counterproductive. And I'll explain. I believe that you need to be focusing 100% on what you're trying to do. And if the universe believes that this is not the right path for you, then the universe will show you through course correction, through other ideas, through other doors opening, that is the path you're going to take. That's not plan B. That's not looking over your shoulder, which is what plan B technically is that you have this one plan, but if this doesn't go, you fall back on this. Course correction is, this is the direction I'm going, and something's going to open up in the pursuit of this. Does that make sense? That is your plan A, never having a plan B. All right. We have this saying where we have, it's been passed down for centuries. Hope for the best, expect the worst. And athletes, high-level athletes, people don't operate like that. This is how successful people work, in my opinion. Successful people work, they say, I'm going to go for the best, and I'll deal with the rest. That's what I'm going to, I'm going to make a shirt. that's going to be one of my shirts on the website. Go for the best, deal with the rest. All right? Now, and I use this example. I call it, the first example is called Race of Twins. Now imagine identical twins. And I mean identical in every way. They run 9 100-yard dashes races. And because they are identical in every way, it's a dead heat. Now, here's the 10th race. You tell them, run straight ahead, and now there's hurdles, okay? But again, they're identical twins. So whatever they do, they're going to do it identical. So what you do is you tell one of them to run forward, focus on the goal, jump over the hurdles. The second one, what you tell them to do is every other hurdle, you want them to just look over their shoulder to see how far they have come from the start of the race. Now, let me just ask you, what do you think is going to happen? Let me just pause for a second. Yeah, That one that's looking over his shoulder, gonna bust his ass. That's the first thing that's probably gonna happen. Second thing that's gonna happen is he's gonna be slowed down because he's too busy focusing on where he came from as opposed to where he's going. You can't do both. You can't focus on the goal in front of you and then also looking at how far you came from wherever the hell else you just came from. No plan B. You cannot focus on two things. You can't even multitask. It's been proven in science and it's been proven in psychology that your brain is just, it's made up a certain way that it can't do that. And I was talking to someone else and I had to share with them that there is something. I'm somebody on this thread watching this will know exactly what I'm talking about. There is something in your brain that if your life is threatened, it will override what you're doing. Now, that's not multitasking. That's course correcting. Oh, this shit ain't working. Oop, let me override that. Oh, I need to save this person's life. Oop, I need to change. All right. So that you can't do that. All right. So you understand what as far as the race of twins. The other one is, and it's very much the same thing. Okay. It's the pit bull or the gold medal. Okay. Imagine yourself running. And right in front of you is like, okay, I'm focusing on the goal, which is the gold medal. Trying to get to that gold medal. Where's your focus? Right in front of you. Now, here's another person, maybe it's the twins. The other one is running and is being chased by a pit bull. Okay, where's that person's focus? Who's going to run faster? The person with the focus ahead of them? Now, some of you be like, shit, oh, that damn dog gonna get me. Yeah, I'm gonna be running fast as hell. No, you ain't. Because you're too busy sitting over here looking this way. You need to have the mechanics and everything of going this direction. Okay? Can't do it. Can't multitask like that. So, you've got a goal in one hand and an obstacle in the other. Which one grabs your attention? Hopefully the goal. Sometimes, the obstacle really, in my opinion, is having a plan B. So you can't do that. All right. And I talked about that. I just talked about that earlier. And it is called your reticular activating system. Now, let me give you some stats with that. Your reticular activating system is basically your brain's focus. And I read something recently. It said you have about 2 billion bits of information that passes by you every second. And of those 2 billion bits of information, your reticular activating system narrows it down to about 75,000 thoughts during the course of a day. And then it takes those 70 to 75,000 thoughts through the course of a day and narrow them down to what you deem is important. And what do you deem as important? Your pre-programming. Your biases and all the other stuff, and your goals, all right? And your goals. Whatever you deem is important becomes the focus. All right. Now, this is why I say the plan A or just your first plan is the most important thing, and you do not need a secondary plan because your reticulating activating system is constantly. Now, some people in science know this as it's like on the front or in the wiring of like missiles. When it locks in on a target, it does not matter if that target moves over here or moves over here. The reticular activating system within the missile actually does what is called course correcting. They've used this when they send rocket ships to the moon or Mars or wherever. It constantly course corrected. The orbit changes, the universe moves, okay, but it stays right on target. So it doesn't matter what it is, and that's what your focus does. What you deem is important, you constantly focus on it. You'll see it everywhere. And so that's what your plan does. And if you're constantly looking over here, you're taking your focus off of the goal. But if you stay on it and you really are doing some of the things as far as like meditating, really like pictures up on the wall. I have goals up there. I have this board that are reminding me every single day on the things that I need to be focused on so that I start to see them. And the more that I see them, then they become a part of my subconscious, becomes a part of my memory, become an imprint. The old saying of the repetition deepens the impression. The more that I'm reading that, the more that I'm seeing that, the more that I'm reading, the more that I'm visualizing, now the thing becomes real. Okay, so that's what happens when you stay on. Now, in this book right here, The Law of Success, one of my favorite books. It's in my top 25 of all-time favorite books. Napoleon Hill mentioned something in there. He talks about concentration. These are all the same words. When you say focus, faith, concentration, a plan, those are all concentration. And Napoleon Hill, I got to read this for you. He says, concentration is the act of focusing the mind upon a given desire until ways and means for its realization have been worked out and successfully put into operation. Basically, he's saying is that if you really want something and you believe you can have it, you are going to start focusing on it until the things, the plans, the people, the money, everything that you need to happen is going to fall into place. So you need to stay right on that and stay focused on there and stop looking over your shoulder, because then that just takes you away from your concentration. All right. And so that with that concentration, again, it changes your belief system. It changes your focus. It changes your faith. And when I go back to the belief, it changes your self-talk. Because now if I'm thinking of the ideas, I'm seeing those pictures in there, my self-talk is going to be, I'm going to see that car. I'm going to be like, yep, that's mine. Remember when I was a kid when you did that? Yeah, that's mine. That's my car. That's my car. Amazing. Had I really understood what that meant. And now that I do, if I hear kids saying that, I'll say, yes, you can do it. You absolutely 100% you can do it. Just keep talking. Just keep talking. Bring that into existence. Like some people say, speak it into existence. Keep doing that. All right. And I said it before. In one hand, there's a goal. In the other hand, there's an obstacle. Okay. Which one grabs your attention? Okay. All right. Multitasking. I talked about that. It's nonsense. People are sitting over here trying to fool themselves. Again, like you said, no plan B. Plan B is sitting over here trying to do two things at once. How about focusing on that one thing? Get that shit done. Get all your energy on there. Boom. Move it over the way. Bam. Get on to the next one. Check that off the list. Then boom, get on to the next one. Instead of running over here doing all this, running over here doing this. I used to do that. Jack of a million trades and didn't master anything. And once I started focusing on it, that's why I was able to create the 2 businesses. That's how I was able to write the 4 books. And that's why I'm doing this channel right now, because I'm actually being very intentional and deliberate in what I am doing and what I'm trying to create. All right. All right. No plan B. Again, that's the theme that we're talking about here, because there's a book, I think Charles Darwin has a book, and it's called The Origin of Species. And I think I mentioned this before in another video. And that is, he basically said, if the species that evolved that we see here today, what happened is they adapted, they adjusted, they evolved. And if they did not, they died. So that's where we are right now. When you start planning things and then you start looking over your shoulder, you're not giving yourself an opportunity to see what's in front of you so you can adapt, and you can adjust, you can evolve, so you can thrive and you can survive. All right? All right. We talked about the reticular activating system basically is the subconscious focus. And we talked about Napoleon Hill in his book and his concentration. Now, there is a story. I don't know how true this is, but it's been passed down centuries. And I found it as I was doing research as far as wanting some more material for talking about no plan B. And this is a famous story, and I got the information in 1519. Captain, I think it's Hernan Cortez. He pulled his ships, 11 ships, from what I understand. He had 500 soldiers and 100 sailors, and he pulled into Veracruz, which I think is a part of the lower part of Mexico. And he's going in there because he heard of all the gold and everything by the Aztecs. So he said, look, we're going in there to take over. Now, from my understanding, he was probably outnumbered, I think maybe 5-1, 6-1, 7-1. And so when he pulled up to the ports, he actually burned all 10 of his ships. And the sailors, they were like, are you crazy? What are you doing? He said, no. He said, we don't have basically, I'm paraphrasing. He said, we don't have a plan B. We're going to come over here. We're going to bust their ass. We're going to take names, and we are going to take their ships on the way back. So you'll hear this story. You'll type this in. You'll just say, burn the ships or burn the boats. And what you'll do is you'll come up with this story. Because what he basically is saying is that when you remove the option of having the plan B. It's amazing what you end up doing. Now, I'm a perfect example of that, and I want to mention that you're all or nothing. You're going home in someone else's ship. You're taking everything else theirs, and like they said in that movie, what was it, Apollo 11? That they said failure is not an option. All right. So I equate that to what happened to me in prison. I had taken away every option that I had. I'm now in prison, and as I'm looking at the landscape of when I'm about to get out, I'm looking at a black man with a felony conviction, no like really usable skills that I saw that I could transfer into anything else. So I had no other plan other than just saying, you know what? I'm going to college. I'm going to find out if a college degree trumps a felony. I don't know what else I'm going to do, but I don't have a lot of options. So it forced me to read everything that I could read, get as educated as I could, and now here I am today when I had basically had my back up against the wall. So as we close up here with this, I share this with anybody. I'm going, whatever you think you can do a whole lot better. Okay? There's no excuse or anything for that. Now, I hope the lighting is still good because I think the battery is going down on my phone. So I'm going to close with this right now. Okay, this is Carlton Hamilton. This is Plan Your Greatness. You want to like this page. You want to subscribe to this page. You want to share this page, because here's the deal. You need to plan your greatness, because as you see back there, no one else will. Again, this is Carlton Hamilton. I will see you guys all next time.